everyone, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Friday, February 12th of the year 2021, and this is FlossTube number 51. So welcome, as always, welcome back to all my returning viewers and subscribers. Thank you for your continuing support, for coming back week after week and checking in on me and spending a little bit of time with me. It's always very much appreciated. And if this is your first time visiting, then welcome. I hope that you like what you see and you find a reason to stay and subscribe and continue to follow me on my stitching journey. I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that everybody's staying safe and sound and keeping busy. Everything's okay on our front, thank goodness. School has started. Well, I had the winter session, which was like a compacted form of the regular spring and fall semester, which was only one class for me. So now we've just started the spring semester, and I was actually able to get into one of the classes that I was waitlisted for, which is both good and bad at the same time. On one hand, it's great because I don't have to worry about trying to get into that class in the future, because it's chemistry. It's you know, a lot of people need that class for a lot of different things, so it's very hard to get into. So I was glad to be able to get a spot. Apparently the professor drops anybody that doesn't show any activity on our website that we use to turn in assignments and stuff. So so I guess that's how I was able to get bumped up from being like 5th or 6th on the waiting list to actually being enrolled. You snooze, you lose, right? So yeah, 3 classes this semester, which means that the stitching is going to have to take a back seat once more, but that's okay. You know, there's a time and season for everything, right? But yeah, having said that, let's get to the stitching. The first thing I want to show you, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a routine now, it seems, just starting off with this right here. This is going to be my focus piece for the year. This is The Eternal Promise by Matt Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I started this on my birthday last year for my twin. So I guess I should say our birthday, right? Because it's her birthday as well. But I started it for my twin, so I do want to finish it sooner rather than later. I have decided to try to stitch 200 stitches daily, and so far I've been able to keep up with it, and this is what I've got so far. I reached the 1.5% done mark the other day. Yeah, I think it's I want to say 6,700 stitches, so 6,700 stitches. Yeah, it's been wild, but I love seeing the little details come up. So I'm trying to work on both confetti and block stitching at the same time for this. But yeah, it's great. Like it's not until I get, you know, it's always the same thing, right? Everybody says the same thing when working on full coverage, because you're so up close and personal with it. You don't actually see the full picture until you pull it back. So yeah, so the flowers are coming in, and I hope that I can go ahead and continue the 200 stitches a day, which is really ironic because I don't remember if I left that group or not, but I used to be a part of the Horde Challenge Facebook group, which is run by Portia, and she does the 100 days of Hade twice a year, and I had tried and failed every single time that I tried to do the challenge. So it's really interesting that now that I'm kind of doing it on my own terms, like in my own way, it's been working. Granted, you know, it's only been like 40 days, right? So and usually I would fall out around like day 60 or 70. So But I've kept up with it and it's great. I really am enjoying it. The next piece that I wanted to show you is my oldest whip. This is Hogwarts Castle by the Stitching Girl. Hogwarts Castle at night. It's no longer available on her Etsy, but there's other people that have the same image charted. I started this in June of 2018, and I hope to have it finished by my birthday, our birthday, this year, or at least the end of July, Harry Potter's birthday. But I did take it out of the Q-snap after I stitched on it this week, so I wanted to go ahead and take the advantage to show it to you guys, since last time you only saw the Q-snap area. But yeah, I only put in like 200 stitches, and the colors are coming out more purple than blue, which is really interesting. But I only put in 200 stitches on this for a monthly prompt on enchanted stitching. We had to put 200 stitches done in blue. The prompt is to stitch 200 stitches in every color of the Olympics flag. So again, there's a blue ring, so that's why blue, 200 stitches done in blue. And that has, I reached 84,000 stitches on that. I forgot to mention that. The next piece I wanted to show you was my Sleeping Beauty piece. This is by Stitch Fairy Treasures, I believe. I'll go ahead and link it below. I'm pretty sure it's Stitch Fairy Treasures. But she actually had her birthday in January, and it completely went over my head. She turned 2. I started her in 2019. So once I realized that, I went ahead and pulled her out for another section of that 200 stitch prompt. So the Olympics flag is on white, so you also had to do 200 stitches on white. So you can't really see it because it's white on white, but I did pretty much this area at the top right here, all of that, for that prompt. And this is what she looks like. So I'll try to bring her out more this week, at least next couple of weeks, because I do feel bad. Originally I had wanted to do one more page, like that was going to be the goal for the year this year, but it wasn't until I was working on the prompt that this is pretty much, I'm pretty sure this is the edge of the entire design. So I figured I'll go ahead and do the it's a partial page, the page after the next full page, if that makes sense. The next page over is only a partial page, so I decided instead to just go ahead and do both pages at once, so I can get that entire count row of pages done. So I'll try to take her out. She's very confetti heavy. I don't know if you guys can see, but there is a lot of confetti in that area. Even her hair is just all the grays, just a ton of different grays. So I feel like those 200 stitches that I did, I mean, they were done in one color, so it wasn't bad at all this time around. But 200 stitches is about as much as I can handle doing on a single color. Go ahead and put this on the side then. Oh, this fold. Okay, sorry. I had to get my project bag out of from under Hogwarts. Anyways, yeah, so 200 stitches is about all I can handle doing in confetti at a time. So I feel like I'll go ahead and use her for any smaller stitch count prompts that pop up, or just use time. Like enchanted stitching and daily 30 allow you to count the time that you spend on a single whip as opposed to the stitches. So I'll try to work on her some more the next couple of weeks. Another piece that had a birthday last week that I also just went over my head was my realist kit. This is Lilac Evening, and I started her also 2 years ago. So she too turned 2 years old. And this was like, I think, February 6th or something like that. It was last week. It wasn't as bad as like Aurora, that was that was last month. This was at least last week. So I do have her slated for a prompt where we have to, for daily 30, we have to work on something that has to do with ribbons. So, you know, I'm just gonna go with the lace ribbon, the ties, the hat under her chin, but also the flowers are made out of ribbons. So she's getting some love and care coming up soon. The next piece that I wanted to show you, I'll go ahead and show you my project bags over here. I can just get them out of the way. But the next piece is my Flowers of the Alphabet by Lemonada on Etsy. This one I'm working differently. This one I'm using as a de-stash piece. So I'm not doing the called for colors necessarily. I'm just going to go by what I have available from scraps. Especially when I do like dimensions kits where you usually have some floss left over. I never throw those away. So this is going to be the piece, one of the pieces that I use to go ahead and take up or use up those leftover flosses. So this is what I have so far. Working more on my project bag. I'm using this for a year-long event called Alpha My Bet on Semi-Sane Stitchers. Both Semi-Sane and Daily 30 are closed groups, I believe, so you can't actually get into them at the moment. They opened it up. Daily 30 literally opened up for like 24 hours or less than 24 hours, and I was able to get in. I was invited in. Thank you, Lisa, if you were watching this. But yeah, so this is where we're at. And for Alpha My Bet, we just finished C, so now we're gonna start with D this weekend. This is also my Whip Go piece this month, so I'll definitely work on this weekend because it's Whip Go weekend. I'm gonna go easy on myself though, so for Whip Go weekend I just want to finish the C. I'll go ahead and claim that as my goal, to finish that C. Because I also need to do the second whip, which is Full Moon, and for that one I want to do 1,000 stitches over the course of the weekend. So, and as you can see, the C for Carnation is actually supposed to be pink. The asters too, they were supposed to be like this shade of pink, but again, just using some de-stash. And I just thought there weren't enough yellow flowers on the product, so I changed it to yellow carnations. And the daisies I'll go ahead and keep white, because most daisies, I feel like they're just always white whenever you see them. In cartoons or anything like that, they're always white, so I'll keep them white. Oops. The next piece I wanted to show you is the one that I used for the Magical Stitches prompts. This is my World of Warcraft whip. This is the Horde flag by Up to Cross Stitch. I started this for my boyfriend last year. Well, I said it's for both of us, but I started it on his birthday, so I say it's for him. And I used this for the prompt where we have to work on something with a flag, obviously, and something that we would be willing to sacrifice to the gods, because we're doing Percy Jackson, so it's a lot of Greek mythology, right? And this is where we're at so far. Let me see if I can, I always forget. Just kind of see. There we go. This is where we're at so far. I reached I'm over 3/4 of the way done with this. And I'm hoping that next time I pick it up, I'll be able to fix. So if you've been around long enough, Maybe you'll remember that I messed up on this one. I accidentally made this entire section. So this is the first section that I stitched. And when I made this section, when I started stitching this section, I counted wrong. So everything's off by 4. Yeah, it's off by 4. So this side is 4 stitches too thin, and this section is going to be 4 stitches too thick. In terms of the spacing, right? In terms of how much spacing there is from the centerpiece. So I put in 900 stitches on this week for the prompts. All of them down here at the bottom, because I did want to make sure that this section at least was correct. And what I'll do in order to make up for those 4 columns of stitches, I hope all I have to do really is omit one of the rags that you see down here. I hope that as long as I just get rid of one, that'll make the edges line up, like the edge from here on the bottom and over here on the side. I hope that's all I have to do. I'll also have to adjust the curve down over here so that it's not too, I don't want this to be too much of a difference. As it is, I feel like it already is a bit of a difference. So I'll just adjust the curving so that it's a little bit closer towards the center and there's not that much space. But this is definitely going to be a finish soon, hopefully within the next couple of months. Yeah, I'll just use this for as many prompts as I can, especially for enchanted stitching, where we can just stitch according to time, because that's one thing, and the reason why I went over, because the prompts were only 400 stitches this time around, and I did 900, so I went over by 100. But because of the mishap, even though it's Pattern Keeper compatible, I'm marking off a lot of stitches that I didn't actually do, because again I omitted 4 rows, so it's marking off rows of stitches, or not rows, columns of stitches. So it's marking off things that aren't there on my whip because of the mistake. So I had to kind of kind of calculate. I did have to count how much it marked off that I didn't actually do, and then make up the stitches. So that was fun. So I don't think, that's why I'm only gonna use it again for prompts that only count the time, so that I just don't have to worry about making up stitches that aren't there. It was just a hassle. But I really wanted to use it because it called for a flag, and so it's like, okay, there's not going to be that many opportunities where you have something that's just like perfect for a prompt. But yeah, so that was that whip. The next thing I worked on is another whip that hasn't been pulled out in a long time. This is Sea Glass by Carolyn Manning, and I did 1,000 stitches on this. Actually, yes, 1,000 stitches. This is part of her quilt blog series, so she does a lot of these pieces. I'm sure you've seen them around probably. There's literally of all colors. Like, she has one of these for every single color that you can possibly think of, every color scheme, every theme. She's amazing. And a lot of us started her patterns as part of the Manic Manning style of 2020. It was Mania, so that's the manic part, and then just Manning because of her last name. But this is where we're at so far, and I actually find this is really easy to work with, because every little triangle you see, they're 10 stitches, so it's really easy to figure out how much I have to do without necessarily having to count, or I just do, oh, okay, it calls for 100 stitches, okay, so that's 10 triangles. So I was able to do 1,000 stitches that way, and I want to do 1,000 more so I can finish a cabin in magical stitches. But more on that later. The next quilt I have to show you is, let me show you a product image first. This is my mini mauve irises by Marianne Broom, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I'm using this for a Pride and Prejudice book in the Full Coverage Phonetics Bookshelf Challenge, where you take the number of pages in a book. I think they pulled it out of Goodreads or something like that, but you take the number of pages, multiply it by 10, that's how many stitches you have to do. And this was a book for January, but you're able to work back. So for those challenges, you can't do a book that's going to be in April, for example, but you can go ahead and work on a previous month's book. So I wanted to go ahead. This was the last book I had left for January. This is what I have so far. It's mostly been done in the purples. I'm trying to finish off the remaining stitches just in as few colors as possible, because it's just easier and quicker to stitch that way. And so I've been working on this purple, and I'm gonna go ahead and work with this purple as well. Excuse me. But yeah, tiny stitches. I'm really liking working on 25 count. It took me a bit to get used to it, but I am really liking it. I think I'll be able, I was considering trying to start His Way Home again on 25 count eventually. I think that'll be the way to do it. The next piece I wanted to show you was my Midnight Fairy. It's technically called Mini Midnight Stroll. Yeah, I'm 22% done with this one. This is by Julie Fain. That's why I call it Fairy Fairy. But sorry, I got a notification. I got distracted and I tried to play it off like super cool, but no, I got a notification from one of my classes. Sorry. Okay. Mini Midnight Stroll by Julie Fain, charted by Hade. This is where we're at so far. I've done quite a bit on her and I'm super excited. Reached 22%, so I'm excited about that too. Almost a quarter of the way done, and I'm still gonna keep going because it is a gift, and I want to finish it as quickly as possible, so that it's for my goddaughter. So I want her to still be. I mean, I feel like it's a quote-unquote timeless piece. This is like falling on me. It's kind of timeless. It's not too girly, it's not too childish, but I want her to still be at the age where magic is a thing, right? The next piece I wanted to show you, I'll go ahead and show you the product image on my tablet, if it'll work with me. It's okay. Here we are. This is Winnie the Pooh by Hornswoggle on Etsy. And this is also going to be a gift for a friend that's having a baby in May. So I have to get cracking on this because time's running out. Baby's almost here. And it's freaking everybody out. All my friends. They're the first ones in my friends group to get married and have a baby. So everybody's like, what? But this is where I'm at so far. The last few things I've done is I can't remember where I was at the last time you even saw this, because I can't remember when I filmed. So I filled in his head. I did the outline of the head. I worked my way down to finish the outline of the body, and now I'm just filling in the body. So it's nice quick stitching. Well, right now it's not because I have to count, but once I get to filling in that last color, because I am working by color, it'll be nice and quick. And I think what I'm going to do with this, and feel free to tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and pull up the product image again. But considering that baby's due soon, I'm wondering if I can get away with backstitching the background. The blue blobs that are in the background. Because, I mean, they're just there. In fact, maybe I can just not do it at all. No, but I want to do it because it looks pretty. But yeah, maybe just not backstitch. Did I say backstitch? Half stitch. Half stitch the background. And then just do... Yeah, I guess I would have to do the bush, the tree trunk, everything else just, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, just tell me what you guys think, because I feel like if I do the half stitch on the blue in the background, then do I have to half stitch everything, like this bush right here, and there's like things on the ground over here. I'll have to see. For sure I need to do full stitches on Winnie the Pooh and Piglet in the tree trunk. That's gonna be enough. And that's gonna be give me enough time to figure out what I want to do. Figure out my life. Because I don't have that much time left. And before the baby comes, I mean. But yeah, so that's all I have to show you guys this time around. It is Whipco weekend, so I'm gonna work on full moon. Did I mention that? I'm gonna show you guys. This is what it looks like right now. I haven't done the weekly 1000 stitches that I want to do in order to finish her before the end of the month. So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna go ahead and do that for Whipco weekend. And then besides that, I just want to, so I guess this can get into a little bit of plans. Between January and, not so much this month, but between January and February, I have been stitching a lot of the cabins on Magical Stitches. They are opening up the second phase of that challenge in March. So what I would like to do is from now until the end of the month, I want to focus on finishing up the cabins that I've already started, because I started a ton of them, and I think I've only finished like 3 or 4. So I want to make sure that I finish those. But also the main reason why I want to finish those cabins is to make sure that I have nothing pending for March, because Full Coverage Fanatics is doing a month-long event where they've taken several events of historical significance that have happened in March. So that what they've done is they've taken those events and then they take the year, and that's the number of stitches that you have to do in a whip. That's the counting version, at least, of the event. The non-counting version is you have to stitch on a whip that is associated with that event. Or if you're like me, you're gonna try to do both. I think Kim said that she was gonna try to do both as well. So for example, one of the dates they have is in 1924, and I don't have the specific dates, I just wrote down the years because that's what matters to me. Sorry, not sorry. But in 1924, the song Happy Birthday to You, the iconic, we sing it when we're bringing out the birthday cake, that was published, that was originally released and published in 1924. So you have to stitch on something that is going to be a gift. So this is, I'm gonna get some work done again, and stitch 1,924 stitches. Another one they have is in 1774, the Orion Nebula was first photographed. So you have to stitch on something that has to do with outer space. So for that one, I want to bring out my moon charmer because she's holding the moon in her hands. That's fine. It has to do with astrology, space, and you have to stitch 1,774. And these are just a few that I've written. I have my planner right here, in case you guys are wondering. But yeah, that's just a few of the ones that I wrote down. So I want to make sure. Most of these I can also use for cabins, because again, 1924 is very close to the 2,000 stitches that you need for a cabin. So most of these are gonna get cabins as well. So yeah, so I want to finish cabins this month so I can start all the cabins next month in March, because that's how that works, right? But yeah, I guess that's what's coming up in the next few weeks. Next video I publish will be a stitch with me, since again school's back in session, so it's time. And I'll go ahead and alternate between FlossTube updates. I did want to do it this week though, so I can have it nice and even, like have the FlossTube updates be at the end of the month at least, so I can give you the updates for end of months and stuff and things like that, like statistics, the numbers and stuff. But yeah, that's all I have to show you this week. I hope you guys have a relaxing weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you guys get to enjoy the holiday, Valentine's Day, with the people you love. And hope you guys have a productive week. And as always, I hope you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, guys.